Okay, welcome to another episode on the Growth Leadership Cafe, where we talk about all things personal and organizational leadership. As always, I am your host, Adesoa Ero, and if this is your first time coming across my YouTube channel, you're very welcome. It means that you're in search for tips and tricks on how to build your capacity as a leader and to be that phenomenal leader that you want to be to yourself and to other people in this world. Okay, so welcome. For my avid subscribers, thank you so much. I appreciate it. If you're not yet subscribed to my YouTube channel, I'll say do so right now so you get a ding every time I post a video, which is every day Tuesday at 8 o'clock a.m. Central Time. All right, moving on to the topic for today. Today I am talking about helicopter leader, the Godzilla type of leader, the one that's always hovering around. Have you done this? Have you done that? That type of leader. The honest truth is, sometimes we don't recognize that we're doing that, right? And sometimes it does come from a good place, that you want your team to do it the right way. You want to make sure they meet the deadline or whatever timelines that you guys agreed on. You just want to know that the work is getting done. I get that. Okay, but how do you do so in a way that is not very busy and just hovering around people, and in some way you're telling them, I don't trust you and I want to make sure that I'm able to control every step of the process. And nobody wants that, okay? Whether it's the person who's doing the work and is having this leader who's like, oh, have you done that, Cynthia? Oh, have you done that, Michael? Tolu, have you done that? Like, it's annoying. And how do we monitor our team in a way that still gives them that autonomy and the dignity to be able to do their work without feeling that much distrust coming from you? Or, like I said, even if that's not the intention, is because you don't trust them, but you are that person who just wants to make sure the work is done, and so you're projecting that on your team. Now, why is this even important? With leadership, you want to model the behavior that you want your team to take up, right? And also replicate. And so if you're that person who's constantly hovering around people, it's a bit micromanaging, and it's an ineffective style of leadership. And you probably will get a lot of unhappy team members or people who just don't want to be around you because you're constantly hovering and just wanting to control it. And they might be thinking, well, you might as well come and do it if you wouldn't even give me the space to get it done, right? So what does this look like? How does a helicopter leader manifest? One, you give people tasks and you're asking them anytime you catch them in the hallway. You go into their office asking, hey, what's the status in this? You send an email, hey, what's the status in this? Or when you give them a task, you're telling them how to do it, where to go about it, essentially giving them the whole spiel of how it should be done. Now, that just screams a lot of distrust, a lot of obsessive need for control of everything, and it's unhelpful, it's unproductive, it doesn't help your team grow, it doesn't help people trust you or respect you, or when they see you, they just want to avoid you, they probably find you annoying. And as a leader, especially as a new leader, you don't want that. You want to feel comfortable and safe enough to say things to your team, and you want them to feel the same way towards you. You want to have a good rapport and relationship with them, and you want them to trust you. But if you're going about it like that, maybe, especially when you're new and especially for being in that lower level leadership positions where you're in an interesting spot between the front line and upper management, and so you're probably getting that pressure from above to perform. You're getting that pressure to ensure that things are done right at the front line, or your direct reports are doing things properly, or you're just that person who maybe you have your own method of doing things and you want to make sure your team is doing it that same way. But I want you to keep in mind that we each have our own unique abilities and our unique style of doing things. We can still accomplish the same outcomes even with different methods, right? Just because your method works, it doesn't mean that my method cannot work. My method might even produce a better outcome, right? But if you are constantly wanting to control how things are done, how people do things, you're not going to see a lot of creativity. There's not going to be a lot of change and growth in the work that you do, or your tangible business outcomes, or just in the capacity of your team, because you're stunting people's growth. You're doing the same thing over and over and over again. And you're not open to innovation because you're like, well, I do this is how we've been doing it in this organization, so this is how we're going to keep doing it, right? So you want to make sure that doesn't change. You're holding so tight to that. And yeah, it's annoying, okay? For the person who's at the receiving end of this, it can be very frustrating, and people are going to avoid you if they see you. They're not going to want to speak to you, or they just give you short remarks, or not even want to indulge you in conversation, right? So what is the alternative? What is the solution to all of this? In order to take a step back a little as a leader, you're not responsible for the people who are responsible for the work, okay? So you need to give them the ability to, put in your own intellectual dexterity into that work, be able to make mistakes and be corrected with love. You want to give them the opportunity to build the capacity as well, so they can also grow and scale up that corporate ladder like you are currently doing, right? So, but if you're constantly stunting that, then yeah, it doesn't help them, it doesn't help you, it doesn't help your business environment. It's of no good to anybody, okay? So maybe what you can do instead, in order to loosen some of those reins that you have on your impulsive desire to, want to control the entire process or the outcome, is give tasks well in advance. If you know that something is due a month from now, you want to start communicating that now, right? Not 1 week or 2 days to the deadline and you're expecting people to go above and beyond and jump through hoops to produce results. So give people tasks ahead of time. Let them know in advance, okay, this is coming up, this is what I'm going to require, assign who's going to do it, determine a reasonable amount of timeline or deadline that will give you time to also review, contribute, share your thoughts if there's need for changes, and then, it's ready to go at the time it should be going out, right? So that way you give them the space to do what they need to do. And then if they have questions, open up, make yourself accessible for them to come to you when they have questions, and then answer those questions so that, you give a task today, tomorrow, hey, how's that going? Or what's the status on this? Can you send me what you have so far? Like, yeah, no. And maybe when they send it, you're unhappy with what it is, but it's incomplete, okay? So yeah, of course, you're going to be unhappy with what they have so far. Okay, so that's the first strategy, is to give things well in advance if you know it on time. Secondly, give people tasks according to their strengths. But this requires you to also understand the unique abilities of each person in your team. So give people things according to their abilities. If you know, then assign it to them. So at least that will give you some peace of mind in knowing that, okay, yes, this is something that Darren is super great at, so I can take a step back and let him do his work, and if he has questions, he'll come to me. Number 3, if you feel like this person is not so great at this specific thing, but this thing just needs to get done and it needs to get done by somebody and they're the ones who's available, maybe what you can do in that situation is build their capacity, but maybe pair them up with someone who can do the job. So by doing that, they learn from that person, but you're building that person's capacity as well, right? And in addition to that, you can encourage them to come to you or go to other people. It doesn't even have to be you. In fact, send them to somebody else you feel like is on the team that they could learn from. Because the truth is, as much as you are one of the decision makers, it doesn't mean you have autonomy or monopoly over knowledge, right? So there could be other people on the team who have the same knowledge or who know something about that task, and you can redirect them to that person to go find that information that they need. Lastly, but certainly the most important, get some self-restraint. Super important, and it will save you a lot of peace of mind and just the heartache with just constantly running after people as opposed to getting them to come to you when they have questions. So that is all I want to say on this matter. So if you're finding that you're constantly asking people, oh, what's the status on this? That is a red flag for you to know that maybe you need to take a step back and let them come to you, okay? And recognize that in yourself, because sometimes we don't know that we're doing that, and it takes a level of self-awareness for you to identify when you're doing that, and try to check yourself and correct yourself. All right? If you found this information valuable, I'll say give this video a like. Let me know that you appreciate the content that comes out of this channel. Share your thoughts with me. Is this something that you struggle with, or maybe you wonder if this is something that you're doing or projecting to your team? And let's talk about it in the comments. And if you have questions, feel free to reach out to me on any of my social media platforms. I would love to connect with you and learn from you as well. And most importantly, I would say subscribe if you haven't already, and so you get a buzz anytime I post a video. All right, and that will be all for today. I will see you on the next episode. Bye for now.